Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited, to a very special episode where we are talking about Fight the Future, the X-Files movie from 1998. Brian, I've been looking forward to this.
I have, yeah. Right since day one, I've been looking forward to this one. It's just a culmination, really. I think because like this movie came out, and I've said this before. When it was at the height of X-Files like
Yeah.
fandom. This was the biggest show on television. It was the biggest show in my life at that point. As a fan, to have a movie coming out, I was just like, man alive, I can't believe this is happening.
Cherish the past.
I remember seeing the trailer for the first time, the teaser trailer.
Enjoy the present. Because the truth is coming.
And I was just like, oh, joygasm. So yeah, to get to see Mulder and Scully on the big screen was just going to be awesome.
I didn't get to see this in the cinema. I don't know if you did.
Right.
It was VHS. I picked up 3 times.
Yeah,
I picked it up on the good old VHS back in the day. So I do remember parts of the movie. It had been a long while since I had seen it, so there was large portions of it that I couldn't remember at all, and there were certain standout sequences where I just like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I watched this 3 times at the cinema. It was one of the first films I ever did that with. The first film I saw more than once at the cinema was Scream. That was like 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, I watched that several times as well.
Yeah. And then
that, and strangely, Jerry Maguire.
You say strangely. Mine was Batman and Robin. I think I was in denial. It was just pure denial. As a Batman fan, I was like, nah, can't be this bad. Can't be. I'm going to go and watch it again just to make sure it's... Yeah, but Scream was the first film I saw multiple times at the cinema. And then I think Batman and Robin probably the second. And then this. I saw this 3 times at the cinema. But not only that, when it came out on rental at Blockbuster, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but this was back in the days of VHS, not DVD. What they did, so when it was like the new movie at Blockbuster, the latest release, they'd literally just blitz the shelf with it so everybody could rent it. And then within the space of about literally 2 or 3 weeks, once everybody that wanted to rent it had rented it, Blockbuster would literally take half of their stock and just sell it. And I bought it ex rental because I couldn't wait for it to come out on home video, which when it did, I bought it on home video, and then I bought it when it came out on DVD, and now I've bought it on Blu-ray. So yeah. So we open up on North Texas, 35,000 years before Christ. Cavemen hunting, they're kind of running over the rough terrain. Looks like it would kill me in about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. And they enter this cave, an ice cave, where they are attacked by a alien. One of the cavemen gets killed, but the other caveman manages to come out victorious, kills the alien. But then a familiar-looking oil slick-like worm comes out of said alien and invades this caveman, who just starts kind of screaming. And then the echo of that scream kind of brings us into modern day. But before I get into modern day, that's essentially our opening sequence.
I love the fact that they have this like the great descendant of the Jersey Devil kind of starting this movie. It's a nice throwback to the series. It's showing you the scope of it as well, isn't it? Really, like it's it's being playful, but it's like in your face. We're getting to see Alien right in the first sequence, fighting cavemen, oil. We're straight into like key aspects of the X-Files. So kind of appreciate that, because my main thought going into this, because my memory was rusty, was, is this going to be like set up for anybody to go in and watch it, you know, off the street and be able to pick up the story, or is it going to be something that's intrinsically tied to the series? And you get the answer right from the start.
Yeah. Well, I think it does a fairly good job of doing both. I think if you saw this movie first before any of the episodes, I think they do enough to allow you to follow the story.
But I think in all fairness, in 1998, who's going to make this the first discovery of the X-Files? You know, when it's on TV, it was the biggest thing at the time.
Yeah. I mean, my introduction to Firefly was Serenity. That movie was essentially the wrap up of the show, although they made a few tweaks as well, a few kind of I love the set. I love the ice cave set. The lighting on it is really beautiful. It's just, you can tell it's like, oh, we got a little bit of more money to play with, haven't we? It's like, they've got, you know, it's not just like a little bit of a thing where they cheat by using certain angles. You know, they go on a super wide, and you see this little caveman coming into the set, and it's like, wow, yeah, okay, you've gone to town on that. We recognize you've got more money. So okay.
Oh yeah.
So we go from screaming caveman to present day as a kid falls through the cave, which is no longer in the Arctic looking wilderness. The frozen tundra. It's actually in what we now recognize as Texas, which is mostly just desert land. So kid falls through the cave.
It's a human skull.
Toss it up here, dude.
No way, but wop, this mine.
For me at the time, I knew this kid right away from American Gothic.
Gothic,
yeah. So American Gothic was, it wasn't big, because obviously it only lasted. It only lasted one season, so it didn't really pull in the viewers. But for anyone who was a fan of that show, one of the predominant things about it was this kid. He was so good in that show. Like one of those child actors that didn't grate on your nerves, but had a lot of charisma, a lot of character, particularly that accent, which is carried with him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, that cadence is just fantastic.
Yeah, you can't hide the accent.
I got the wind knocked out of me.
Looks like a cave or something.
When it came out, I was a fan of American Gothic, and I found out, oh, that kid from American Gothic is going to be in the X-Files movie. That's cool. But for one scene. So kid falls into the cave and he gets infected by the same worm-like alien, which kind of begs the question, oh my word, has it been waiting down there this whole time? To which the obvious answer is yes.
Just to show you that we're in the movie and we can do differently, they do this wonderful shot where the camera cranes up till we see the town, and then it cranes back down just as the ambulance passes, an almost passing of time, but just showing you like the expanse that we've got as all these emergency vehicles arrive on scene. You know, I thought that scene was absolutely wonderful. It's
cinema, isn't it? It's the look. We can do things now that we can't do when we're doing the show, and they do a damn good show in a damn good job in the show of making it feel cinematic. There's so many times
most
in
of the
show.
time.
Most of the time. There's the odd Jersey Devil and whatnot, but it's like for the most part they do a really good. Like, how many times have we said that certain episodes have really held up and feel quite cinematic? It's a testament to the show, I think, that the movie at times does feel like merely an extension of the show rather than but no, if you're paying attention, it's definitely bigger. The scale is much bigger. We're in these big widescreen kind of panoramic views of things, and it's we're moving the camera in much better ways and filling the screen with things. It's great. As a fan, I was sat there glued to the screen way back when, just thinking, this is so awesome.
What you got, TC? Talk to me.
The fire crews arrive. A couple of fire crew members go down. They get infected. So the lead fire crew guy decides, I don't know, I'll send some more down. So he sends some more in the hole, and that's when a chopper turns up full of guys in hazmat suits, which is never a good sign. A guy called Braunschweig gets out, gets on his phone, and he's like,
"Sir, the impossible scenario that we never planned for, well, we better come up with a plan."
Which is an awesome line. And yeah, so the whole scene plays with a real sense of urgency. Like, you know, it's just, let's keep that pace going. Let's go. So it keeps you in the race the whole time, kind of thing. So, yeah, not much more to say about that. Other than this, so this actor, the actor who plays Braunschweig, most people I think would recognize as being from Shawshank Redemption, but he's been in a lot of Frank Darabont stuff. I think all Frank Darabont stuff that I can think of anyway. Yeah, Frank Darabont uses this guy a lot, but he's one of those character actors that when he's on screen, he's got quite a lot of gravitas. He was in the original Hitcher as well. So he played the sheriff guy. Yeah, he was the sheriff in the Hitcher. So I like him anyway. He's a good actor. So, and that can be said about a lot of the cast in this movie.
Yeah.
So they don't go and get the big stars. What they do is they get the best character actors. It's like they're all loads of like Blythe Danner, Martin Landau. You know, it's
Terry O'Quinn.
So they get all these people who are like, you know, you've seen them before, and you know they can act, but they're not like big name kind of people. So yeah. So the FBI search for a bomb. So we now go to Dallas. So the FBI are there. They're searching for a bomb. Terry O'Quinn's like Darius Michaud. He's the lead agent, and he's in the building where they're looking for this bomb. And he looks out across the way, and on the rooftop of a completely unrelated building where they're not supposed to be searching for a bomb is Mulder and Scully.
Yeah,
searching for the bomb.
Of course, but he looks rather perturbed by this event as well. You know? No, he's not happy. Yeah, and I've got, like, I don't know about you, but you know, Terry O'Quinn, you see him in a movie, you think he's going to have a big part to play.
Yeah.
Mulder, it's me.
What's the first line that one of our two heroes utters?
I can't remember.
Mulder, it's me. Of course, it's Scully, and like it had to. If it's going to be Mulder, it'd be Scully. It's me. Or if it's going to be Scully, it's So Scully gets the first.
And it should be said, like, it's 12 minutes into the movie at this point. You know, like it's a good chunk. It's what we're waiting on. We know they're going to be the mainstays, but they take their time.
Yeah. But it's the equivalent of an episode teaser, really. It's like if you think like any episode, you've got like a 2-minute teaser, and okay, now we've gone to a 2-hour movie, so all right, let's triple that. There's your teaser. But it's great to see them. So when they come on, and it's like, boom, this is our movie. These are our heroes. Yes, Mulder and Scully, let's go. Instantly, we know we're in a movie and not a TV show because they start using coarse language. Mulder makes Scully jump, and she takes the Lord's name in vain. And so it's I think does Mulder say something? Does he say the SHIT word? I don't know. Can't remember. They swear anyway in this movie. Yeah, but like mild swearing. But so Mulder and Scully are looking for the bomb in the wrong building, which is pretty much something that Mulder would do. Mulder gives the impression that he's bored. This is emphasized by the fact that Scully says, "Look, Mulder, I know you're bored, but there's a lot of exposition in like the first third of this movie. The exposition's there for newbies, but this is all stuff that like obviously we'd get. But the X-Files has been closed. Let's not forget. They're now on routine assignments, and Mulder's bored. Which is why he's deliberately dicking about, and Scully tricks him with the door, which is an absolutely brilliant moment.
I had you.
Oh, you did.
I had you big time.
Yeah, but she had all of us.
Yes,
we're all
yeah.
like, It's not just Mulder. We're all there for a second, going, "Oh,
yeah.
Why is it locked?"
Yeah. Which does make it a really great moment. It's like, I think there's so many like nice little Mulder Scully moments in this that for fans are like, yes, that's my team. That's my Mulder and Scully right there. This is what I live for. I love the Mulder and Scully banter. When we get it in the show, it always boosts the show. So I'm loving that we're having these moments here. And then I think if you are a newbie coming into this, I think you instantly are going to kind of see the attraction to these characters. You're instantly going to get why people talk about these characters so fondly. So they continue that obviously into the hallway. And she's like, "I saw your face, Mulder." And he's like, "What face is that?" And he's like, "No, when I panic, I do this face."
Yeah.
And he just gives his deadpan face.
She's like, "That's the face.
That's the face." It's like, you didn't see that face. Which is a really great moment because 1, it's funny. 2, it's a really great character moment. And 3, it's kind of a bit of a jab at a lot of the critics at the time. Because there were some critics who always kind of said that Duchovny's performance was a bit too dry. He was a bit like more monotone. And that was kind of their way of going, deal with it. It's the character. It suits the character. So Mulder goes to buy a drink and finds the bomb within a drinks machine, and then he realizes he's locked in with said drinks machine, and he calls Scully. She doesn't believe him at first. She thinks it's him getting back at her, which again, totally believable. Her reaction to that moment is really great as well. And then when he starts slamming on the door with some urgency, it's like, oh, okay, things are heating up a bit. And I love the way Scully just suddenly goes into, right, I got to own this situation.
Boss mode.
Yeah, girl boss mode.
Don't think. Just pick up that phone and make it happen.
They break down the door. Michaud comes in, confirms, it's an ID, like gives some technical term for the bomb.
I do love this, how he's like, Yeah. I mean, we see like so much plastic explosive and wires and a countdown clock, and he's just like, yeah, it's a bomb.
It's exactly what it looks like. It's just
a bomb, yeah.
But he's very specific as to what kind of trigger it has and all this stuff.
Just to, he knows a lot about this bomb. Just to
too
go
much.
back a second, when Mulder is going into the room and the guy is coming out, we've seen that guy before, haven't we? The person that's planted the bomb.
Yes, I think he has been in the show as one of those dodgy hitmen that kind of props up.
I'm sure, because I seen him and I was like, oh, I've seen him before. Brian's going to be so proud of me. I have definitely seen him before.
Before they come in as well, Mulder's watching the bomb, and his phone goes off. He jumps out of his skin.
As you would.
Scully, you know that face? I think I'm pulling it again or something. Yeah, it's great moment. It's so fast paced, like everything we've had so far, right from the opening, right to the kid falling into the cave, the introduction of Mulder and Scully, this bomb, their mission, the finding of it. The pace is just like it's like that. It's just going, and the littering in these little character moments as well. The pace isn't getting away from them. It's not just about the action. They're throwing in these character moments, little humorous cues that let us know who these people are, and it's just such a great introduction for them. Michaud basically orders everyone out. Mulder wants to stay, but he's like, protocol. He's like, no, get your ass out, get everyone out, evacuate the building. So they get out, they leave, and then Michaud just decides to sit there in front of the bomb with his head in his hands.
Mulder, what are you doing?
Something's wrong.
Mulder!
We get the most infuriating moment, or one of the most infuriating moments in X-Files, when Mulder, for some reason, decides that he's going to go back in to the building. Like, there's literally seconds left.
There's no time. time. It's the tension, isn't it? You got to build the tension. We know this bomb's going off. You're seeing the clock counting down. Mulder's like, "Oh, do I go in?" Scully's like, "No, we got to go." It's like it does a good job of building that tension. What are they going to do? And it's like, you know.
Well, I'm shouting at the screen. Just leave him, Scully. Leave the idea. Like,
yeah,
he wouldn't even get into the elevator before this thing blows.
This is a bit like Scully's moment in Kill Switch when Mulder's like, "No, there's a missile coming. Let's move," and she's like, "Oh, whatever." So. Great sequence. Really great sequence. Yeah. Like just such a realistic looking bomb. Like you see so many bombs like in movies where it's just like if it's Michael Bay, it just looks like a fireworks show. And then if it's other ones, it's too explosive. You got like gas canisters going off and
But you know what I really liked about it? Like it doesn't decimate the building. It takes a chunk out of it.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Whereas like I keep thinking back to like, is it the start of Lethal Weapon 3 where there's like a bomb, a small bomb in a car, and it's like a controlled demolition. Like, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But it's it's so good, and obviously there was inspiration there from the whole Timothy McVeigh kind of. You know, even having it in Dallas is very like a bit close to the bone there. But it's again, it's that whole using real world events to kind of paint a picture of the overarching government conspiracy, shooting it the way they do, making it feel very real world, tapping into an event that had not long since happened. It was very kind of on the nose, but it instantly hooked you into the reality of the film, despite the fact that the reality of this film is ridiculous. If you've seen the behind the scenes stuff on how they did that, it's actually pretty fascinating as well. So basically, Mulder and Scully after this are an FBI professional review. And basically what they're doing is they're looking for someone to blame. In walks Mulder to hear about 3 firemen and the boy. So Mulder comes into the room late, just as they start talking about the firemen that were in the building along with the boy. Three firemen. That's very important because actually there was 4 firemen. So there's 3 firemen in the building and a boy, and they died in the explosion. So Mulder's like, "Hang on, what? We evacuated the building. There was no one in there." And so he basically gets told to shut up because he's disrespectful for being late. Do one.
He gets sent away with his tail between his legs like a little schoolboy. Dismissed.
So Skinner comes out into the corridor to talk to Mulder. He says, "Why were you in the wrong building?" And it basically says they're using this they're trying to blame you. And that's when Scully comes out into the hall, tells Mulder they're setting them up basically. So she's quitting. And that's when Mulder gets called in. So she's at the point where she's like, "I'm ready to quit the FBI." The bureaucracy here is, 1, it's ridiculous, but 2, it's believable. It's like, so you're not gonna acknowledge the fact that you've saved a whole building full of people. What you're going to do is you're going to acknowledge the fact that a couple of people died, or a few people died, supposedly, and the public are going to want to know why, that is. So you're going to use, basically they're going to make out that if they had evidence that suggested they should be in that building, then why didn't they tell the rest of the crew? Because then the rest of the crew could have been in there. They could have found the bomb faster. And so you can see the reasoning there. That's how they'd spin it. But the fact of the matter is, they never would have found it at all if Mulder and Scully hadn't been looking in the building where the bomb shouldn't have even been. So,
what do you do?
What do I do?
This is the point where Mulder goes all Basil exposition. So this is a sequence that is made purely for newbies. It's like if you're sitting here for the first time, this is the first thing X-Files-y that you've watched, then let us catch you up on 5 years of history.
And for some of the people who have been watching the show, we get to see for the first time ever that Mulder has a local pub. Never been established before that he goes here drinking. But throughout this movie, he will be.
Yeah. And it could be a first time, to be honest, because his career's on the rocks. His partner's looking like she's quitting. So it could be you know what, I'm going pub. I don't go pub, but I'm going to go.
But I will tell you something, that it's a remarkable speech, isn't it? It does encapsulate everything.
Yeah. It's like, as a fan, I sit there watching it and I think that's Basil exposition. But I'm also like, actually, if I was a newbie watching this, I'd be like, thanks for the catch me up. Now I can move on. You've given me everything I need to understand who this character is. Now we can get into the nitty gritty. It's essentially like when you make a Batman film. Every time they make a new Batman film, they have to show you the parents getting killed in the street by the mugger with the pearls hitting the and it's just like, we've seen that so many times now. It's like, I would actually appreciate just a few lines of dialogue by a character that sums all that up, so we don't have to see it again, and then we can move on. And it's just, and it is essentially that. You know, we know Mulder's history as fans. We've heard him talk about his sister until we're blue in the face. We've seen him investigate it till we're blue in the face.
Yeah.
So just having this scene that catches us up.
Yeah, but I think it's a huge but in the fact that it's bloody entertaining. You're almost like fist pumping as he's giving this monologue. So yes, it's exposition. Yes, we all know about it. But my God, what a statement! It's just, you're like, let's go on, get on that soapbox.
Yeah, and it does become a bit of a punchline as well, because the barmaid is like, I think that's enough for you. Played by Glenn Headley. Headley or Headley?
Yeah.
Headley. Yeah.
Headley, I think.
She was in ER. So like ER was really big around the time this was out. So I knew her primarily from ER. And again, it's one of those faces where, you know, she's a good actress. You know, she can do any role that you give her. And she's just in this little role. Like they didn't need to give this role to someone that was so recognizable.
Yeah.
But they did. And it just makes her come off the screen as an actual person in this world, even though we're not really going to see much of her. Mulder goes outside to have a pee on an Independence Day poster. Nice little kind of screw you to. It's like,
oh yeah.
This is how you really do an alien invasion movie. So no, I like Independence Day. So, but it was a nice little crack. That's when he's cornered whilst having a wee by Alvin Kurzweil, who comes outside to speak with him and claims to have worked with his dad. Says Michaud never tried to stop the bomb, and that FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, had offices in the building that exploded. Yeah. The bodies in there were already dead, and they needed to hide it. Mulder gets into a cab and redirects it after some consideration. So
I love the uncomfortable nature of this alleyway meet. It's just something wrong about it, and Kurzweil just feels like odd as well. It's just the way he
when he drops his fly.
Himself. You're like, it's so unnecessary. It's something kind of lascivious about it. I don't know why. But what else is there? Yes, he says, I knew your dad. We were fellow travelers. You know, and I thought of the episode Travelers, you know, it's a throwback to his dad, because I love that episode. I just like that little line.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Scully gets woken up by Mulder banging on the door. He's just like wanders in, all like, you asleep? He's like, yeah. It's like it's 2:00 in the morning, not bad. It's like she can like basically smell the alcohol in him, but he's like, get dressed. I've got an autopsy for you.
Well, at first she's just kind of like, no, this isn't happening. You know?
Yeah.
Are you drunk, Mulder?
I was until about 20 minutes ago, yeah.
Was that before or after you decided to come here?
What exactly are you implying?
And it's the furthest thing from his mind at this moment.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to put all your clothes on.
But it's just typical, isn't it? It's typical.
Yeah.
He always pulls her away from either something she's doing that she's enjoying, or
Sleeping.
To go and look at a dead body. And it's like, it's just Mulder all over.
Hey, Scully, fancy doing a late night autopsy? It's just this. It's always the same.
A chopper lands. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Chopper lands at the North Texas site, and out steps Cancer Man. So yeah, this is our big bad essentially of the show. We know it, but how do you introduce him to a new audience that doesn't know it? Well, you bring him in with two choppers that land, and you get that kind of low down angle, and he lights up the cigarette in the dark that kind of lights up his face, and instantly you know this is the bad guy.
Oh, he's so badass that he could actually light a cigarette in the downdraft of two choppers. That's how badass he is. Like, what a guy.
So Braunschweig shows Cancer Man the gestating organism in one of the firemen, which looks gnarly.
It's like a kind of waxy viscosity that's all
Yeah. It's basically like an egg. It's treating the human host like an egg. So in the same way that the chicken grows by sucking all the nutrients of the egg and then popping out. Yeah, it's like that, really. But quite
the
disgusting.
guy's the egg.
Yeah. It's really disgusting. Mulder and Scully talk their way into the morgue. Now, this is one of those sequences that so we got it in, I think I mentioned this actually in the Red and the Black. So there's Patient X, and then the Red and the Black, if you remember, they go to the military kind of base and they see that truck coming out, but before that they're like,
that's when Mulder abandoned Scully, isn't it?
That's when Mulder abandoned Scully. But it looks like it's going to play out like one of those typical scenes where it's like, well, you get on the horn, so you wake up your superior officer because he told us to be here.
I'm calling my CO.
Listen, son, we don't have time to dick around while you demonstrate your ignorance in the chain of command.
It works. It gets them through the door. It's well played. I love the naivety of this soldier who literally is on guard duty for a reason, which is that he is incompetent. So we're gonna have you guarding some dead bodies because no one's going to be interested in a bunch of dead bodies. So he's stuck there. Turns out people are interested in them. So Mulder and Scully find the bodies of the men who died at the bomb site, only to find their jelly bodies slowing. What? I can't even read my own writing. Showing no sign of death by bomb blast. So this is when Scully sees the body and it has that same kind of viscosity about it, and it just looks like a jelly man. And she's like,
"Well, I can't tell you what killed this man. I'm not sure anybody else could claim to either."
So they move one of the bodies so that Scully can perform an autopsy in secret. And then, so as usual, Mulder leaves Scully to it, ditches her. She's in the dangerous position of getting caught while he's swanning off, kind of doing his thing. So Mulder
do you think he's always walking away from these sequences going, she's got a body, she'll be happy, leave her to it? You think?
I would love to see what the bad blood take of this sequence was. It's just like, I think it would be very reminiscent of the autopsy sequence we saw in Bad Blood, to be honest. So Mulder goes to Kurt Weill's apartment where the cops are looking for kiddie porn. So he turns up, and Kurt Weill, his flat's just been raided. The police are there. It's clearly been planted. Clearly, like, I'll probably get the video taken down there, but it's like a Russell Brand situation. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. I feel like, guy starts talking about stuff that the government don't want you hearing. Gets a little bit too on the nose, and all of a sudden he's being accused of all manner of things. But yeah, we'll move on from that just before we
get Mulder cracking a joke as well.
So
You looking for him for some other reason?
I had an appointment for a pelvic examination.
Kurt Weill collars Mulder down the street, and he tells him that FEMA have way too much power to be handling a supposedly small viral outbreak in Texas. Therefore, it was something bigger, a biological weapon that the government has been working on for 50 years, which still has no cure, with aliens as silent partners. So we've had suggestions in the show before, like most notably it was in Herrenvolk. So that was the season 4 opener. That's when we were introduced to like the bees, and we got the sense that the syndicate were definitely working with the alien bounty hunter. There was some kind of agreement going on there. But yeah, here we're flat out saying, okay, the aliens and the syndicate are in league with each other to create, based on this scene, to create a virus, possibly alien in origin, that has no cure. So it's like, oh, okay. Does any of that feel like a revelation to you? Like,
no, I think that became pretty apparent. Like particularly through the whole, I can't remember which two-parter it was. It was the one with that blonde lady.
Yeah, that was Patient X, and yes, because they were doing they had the cure thing, didn't they? It does a lot of it does feel like almost a repeat of a lot of the stuff that was done in Patient X and Red in the Black.
I think in that one it becomes really apparent that they're working with the aliens, but they don't trust them, and they're trying to find like a side cure for everything so that they can negate if it goes sideways.
Yeah, that's it. So this almost kind of feels like a reiteration of that, but it's like we're going to do it. We're going to do that. We're going to do Patient X and Red in the Black, but with a movie budget. That's essentially what it kind of feels like. But
better.
Again, though, if I was coming to this as a newbie, I feel like all of this stuff, all of these scenes between Kurzweil and Mulder feels really dense. And there's a later sequence with Well Manicured Man and Mulder as well that feels really dense. The dialogue's just like, whoa, information overload. It's like, I feel like I cotton on to what's being said because we've already been told it to a large degree in the show.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I was a newbie, I'd be like, this is like some major political thriller. All the President's Men meets Independence Day kind of like stuff going on. And I don't know whether that would be a draw or a turn off.
They want to discredit you for what?
Because I'm a dangerous man, because I know too much about the truth.
Now that end of the world apocalyptic garbage, you right?
You know my work?
Scully does her autopsy, nearly gets caught. It's this scene where she's kind of hiding under a gloopy body, which is quite disgusting. Mulder calls her, almost gives her away. She's like, bloody phone. Tells her to meet him in Dallas. He's off to look at the bomb site evidence, and she hides under a gurney. So
but there feels that there's a bit of tension to this sequence. You feel as if she could be caught and get in trouble, and she's doing her best, and then she's obviously, Mulder, I can't go. I've got this hearing tomorrow, and he's like, come on, come out and play. It's fine. It's like almost like that egging on.
Scully meets Mulder in Dallas. Says she found a protein code in the bones of the fireman that doesn't exist. So when she checks some of the bones from the Dallas site, the look on her face seems to suggest that those bones match. So they too have the same protein that doesn't exist.
It's gone.
What?
It's left the body.
Braunschweig goes down. I love this sequence. It's a great sequence. Braunschweig goes down to administer the vaccine to the body. Can't help but feel it's a bit late at this point.
Yes.
Like, what are they hoping for? A quick turnaround, or kind of feels like it's wasted.
Why isn't this monitored 24/7? Like, why don't you have cameras or something? Like,
the last thing they are expecting is for this vicious alien to chest burst.
Well, as we've discovered, the last thing they're expecting was this scenario to happen, Brian, because they tell us at the start.
The impossible scenario. so Bronchfree goes down to administer the vaccine, finds that the body is wide open, and then he's attacked by this vicious-looking alien that similar to the one from the beginning that attacked the cavemen. And the coldest thing, just the absolute coldest thing, is that the men he works with just close the hatch and bury it. And when you see that sand hitting the glass, it's just like that's always stuck with me. It's always stuck with me. Just when I saw it for the first time in the cinema, I was just like, oof.
It's fantastic. It's a great sequence, but at the same time, you're like, don't go back down that bloody ladder, you fool. Get your ass up that.
What can he do though? It's like,
leave it. If they're just going to bury it alive anyway, just get out alive.
Yeah, no, but he couldn't get out.
He's halfway up the ladder, and then he's like, "Oh, I think I see it. I think I see the giant alien creature."
But this is before he's been attacked, though.
Yeah. So, look, I'm sorry if there's a giant alien creature down in a dark cave. I'm going back up that thing and just covering the hole. Yeah, right. I'm not going to go.
Yeah,
I've got
the vaccine. I'm going. Yeah. No, I hear you. It's like, I'd be like, I'm coming back up, and I ain't coming back down until I've got like a military squad with me.
Cover it.
Yeah.
Park on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
A meeting has been set tonight in London to determine a course.
Who called this meeting?
Strughold.
Well-manicured man watches his grandchildren playing out in the country manor that looks oh so very British. It's one little sequence in England that just kind of creases me a bit because I'm just like, this is how America sees England, isn't it? Red buses and black taxicabs and British stiff upper-lipped kind of toffs with children that wear shorts and
somebody with a monocle in the background.
I mean, thankfully it is mercifully short. But it does kind of rub me the wrong way a bit. Although well-manicured man, let's face it, he is going to be of the upper class, the upper crust kind of British society. So as much as it pains me, it does feel like, given the character, it would be an honest kind of representation, but it still grates on my nerves. He receives a call, basically, and it's Cancerman saying that Strughold has called a meeting. Strughold, character played by Armin Mueller-Stahl, who, based on this movie, I would say, seems to be the head of the syndicate.
Yep, he's Iron Man.
He seems to be.
There's a shot when well-manicured man turns up, and I instantly thought it's like it's an Avengers Assemble shot with all the bad guys.
It's just I get the sense that out of everyone in this room, he holds the most power. He holds the most sway. It feels like most people are bowing to his whim. Like he's if anyone gets the last say, it's going to be him, which is a real shame because we never see this guy again.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So he's just in this movie. We never see him again. And I feel like it was a real missed opportunity because at the very least, we should have seen this guy go up against Cancerman at some point. Now, there is an explanation that comes later in season 6, I think. Yeah, season 6, that would explain why we never see him again. But even so, even in that explanation, we didn't actually get to see him within the particular situation of So I'll tell you when we get there, but
okay,
we're not there yet. But Strughold seems to be the man in charge. He's been called to the meeting with Strughold. So at the meeting, well-manicured man is informed of how the virus has turned into a new extraterrestrial biological entity. So this is clearly this is a surprise to them. So this is the revelation really in the movie at this point, which is that we've got the alien oil slick virus. We've seen it infect people. We've seen it take over people. We've seen it control people. It controlled Krychek and various people. They knew it was a virus. It worked like a virus, but it was also an alien organism, and they were looking for a cure for it, basically.
Yeah.
But now this thing has just turned into an entirely new life form, and they've suddenly like kind of gone, okay, what do we do with the virus then? Are we making a virus for nothing? Are we just merely like meat sacks for these things to erupt from us? So it's like, does this mean that they've been used all along to help repopulate the planet by the alien race? So they intend to hand one of the bodies over to see how the aliens react.
Yeah.
And Well Manicured Man isn't too happy. He's not too thrilled with that idea. And I personally am kind of seeing it from his side of things.
All our work, if it's true, they've been using us all along. We've been laboring under a lie.
They also say that Mulder has seen too much and needs to be taken out. He's not too thrilled with that idea either. So they say, take away that which he holds most dear. And obviously we know, given that we're fans of the show, the only thing he holds most dear at this point is Scully.
Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, a lot of information in that scene that you kind of have to digest pretty quickly, just in order to kind of stay up to date with like what are the details here that we most need to focus on, because they're telling us some things we already know, but there are also some other things that we don't know. But how do those things we don't know relate to the things that we do know, and how does it change the things that we did know? Given that these aliens can now spontaneously combust into new life forms, does that render the pursuit of this vaccine useless? And with Well Manicured Man, I think the idea of handing a body over simply to see how they're going to react is a stupid idea.
I think, I mean, these guys should know that information is power, so let's not give it away.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you'd assume.
I'd be thinking, if we give these bodies to the aliens are going to go, crap, they're on to us. Time to invade. Let's go. So yeah.
Are they going to go, thanks, this is new, let's do some tests. Yeah.
I don't know, Mulder. I don't see any evidence of an archaeological or any other kind of a dig site.
Yeah, Scully and Mulder in the desert. There's a new park there.
Which looks natural. It looks as if it's been there for years. Like,
really fresh.
Green grass in the middle of an orange desert.
Yeah. So the kids rock up on bikes, and these are the kids that were like friends of the American Gothic kid from the beginning. Mulder flashes his badge, as he's prone to doing. I love how they work all the little things that the characters are famous for in the series, like Mulder calling and saying, Scully calling and saying, Mulder, it's me, flashing his FBI badge at everyone and leaving Scully to do an autopsy. It's all the full gamut of traits.
The good tropes.
Yeah. So Mulder flashes his badge to prove that he is an FBI agent, and basically they get to the bottom of the fact that these kids' nice, swanky new bikes were given to them by the people who also planted the park, literally that morning by the look of it. So when Mulder asks them which way did they head, the kids are like, well, they drove away in tankers, like a bunch of white tankers down that way. So next thing we know, Mulder and Scully are in hot pursuit looking for these tankers.
5 years together, Scully. How many times have I been wrong? Never.
So Mulder drives. They get to a fork in the road. Oh, which way do they go? Left or right? So Mulder just goes straight on across desert land. And then they get to like a dead end. And I will just say, this particular sequence where they're driving, Mark Snow's score is the best it's ever been. I love his score. It's full orchestra. So they hit a dead end, basically. And kind of Mulder starts to think, crap, really made a mistake. Balls this up. And then Scully's like, she's quite pissed because she's got a bit of hearing. And then Mulder kind of lets it slip that, there's something else about this quest that they're on.
We're not chasing tanker trucks, Scully. We're chasing evidence.
Of what exactly? Mulder.
The virus may be extraterrestrial.
She's super pissed. She's like, oh, come on, Mulder.
Yep.
And it's at that point that a train goes past with 3 massive white tankers on it.
Yes.
So they're like back in hot pursuit. But yeah, I love the frustration from Scully, because it's just it's a pure Scully moment. We've seen that face many times before. We also see that childlike quality that Mulder gives when he realizes he's been found out, which we've seen many times before.
Yeah.
It's just a really great kind of character interaction, which as fans, we've seen it before. We know it's them. We're in a comfortable zone here with them. As newbies, you'd be like, this is some really good kind of character interactions. The relationship, like just the fact that they can say so much with just looks between the two of them is so good.
But it's the old thing of you should have known better. You shouldn't have been so gullible. That's, like both as bad as each other. It's like they're playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Never-ending game.
Yeah, Scully, you should have known better. This is Mulder we're talking about here. So, yeah. They follow the train to a cornfield in the middle of the desert with 2 massive domes. They enter one of the domes and it's all like buzzing. It looks very kind of sanitized, very white. And then all of a sudden...
Run!
They run out of the place, and this kind of machine bursts a load of wind out to kind of dust them down of bees, and they get out, and they're kind of freaked out, and they're like, "Ooh, that was something, wasn't it?" And it's that at that point that for me, this is my least favorite scene.
Okay,
because
why so?
Because it comes to nothing. It's only at the point that this sequence ends that it feels like it comes to nothing. But it's a little later on, Kurzweil says to Mulder, you weren't chased down by black helicopters. If they were chasing you down, you don't escape. They would have got you. So that kind of clues you into that, they chased them off, but they weren't really hunting them to kill them. They were just like, scare them off, get them out of here, job done. So for me, it's quite a prolonged sequence of Mulder shouting,
Scully! 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 Talk to me!
Come on, guys. And then they run out of the end of the cornfield after all this drama, and then they look up and the choppers are just gone. And it's like, oh, okay. So that was a whole lot of nothing, really, wasn't it? Why bother going to the expense of getting the choppers in and flying them around if that's it? Could we not at least have like a couple of SWAT guys jumping down and taking shots, and Mulder and Scully have to, it just feels like it came to a whole lot of nothing. Scully makes it to her hearing where she presents evidence, which is the bone fragment kind of thing. So while Mulder meets Kurzweil and tells him what they found, Mulder thinks the bees might be a delivery system for the virus. And that's when Kurzweil says,
"That would be my guess."
And then an argument ensues because Mulder's like, "Your guess? Your guess?" Like, and then he starts kind of putting 2 and 2 together, and he's like, "Hang on a minute, am I having a patsy? Has he just like spun me a line?" And and he's just,
realistically, what has he told Mulder? It's like Mulder has definitely told him more than he's told Mulder.
Yeah. Mulder goes home to look through some family photos where he sees Kurzweil in a picture, which kind of puts his fears at rest because, after that conversation, you're like, you did not work with Mulder's dad. So the seeing him in the photo does confirm that, okay, no, he did work with Mulder's dad. So maybe he isn't as shady as he seemed in that last scene. Scully arrives to say that she's being transferred. So that's it. She's quitting. She's handing in a notice. She's done. Mulder tries to convince her to stay. She says no. It's a no-go.
To throw back to my earlier comment about movies I've seen multiple times, Jerry Maguire, this is almost feels like the "you complete me" scene.
You kept me honest. You made me a whole person. I owe you everything. Scully, and you owe me nothing.
Yeah.
It really does feel like Mulder's just like, "You complete me."
It's a flipping rationalism and a dogged scientific worldview that saved him time and time again. And he ain't kidding.
You complete me.
It flipping has saved him time and time again. I mean, just like Endgame, when, it was her science that saved him then. So, Dodd Calm. Her science saved him then.
Let's move on.
And then it comes to that moment that all X-Files fans have been waiting 5 years for. They're moving for the kiss.
That's your sister.
It's looking like it's going to happen. They're finally going to kiss. And then, just been stung on my neck. Oh, what on earth? And then a classic Scully moment where she literally starts to go unconscious. Her body's shutting down. Her systems are all starting to fail as this bee sting is affecting her. And she starts dictating.
Just self-diagnosis.
Yeah, she's doing this out loud self-diagnosis so that he has all the information to relay to the people on the phone. And it's brilliant. It's exactly what a medical doctor would do.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it's great. But it's just that, it's that idea that even in a moment where she should be freaking the hell out and like, what the hell's happening to me right now? No, she's just listing the symptoms. She's like, whatever this is that's happening right now could kill me, could be life threatening. So I better just list everything that I'm feeling and going through, just so because it could save me. So that's just Scully all over. So Mulder calls an ambulance, and when the ambulance gets there, Mulder kind of recognizes the driver, and just as he starts to go, "Hey, I know you," the driver pulls a gun and shoots him. And while Mulder lies on the floor with presumably a bullet in his head, we hear the siren of what is presumably the ambulance that Mulder actually called before his call was intercepted.
But that's it. That's the same guy who does the bomb at the start, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's just it's so like the gunshot's unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it? Like it's
It's
like thing before.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of drive away and it's done. But this is like a oof.
Yeah. This is just a no. Just like, and the sound of that gun as well is really kind of ow.
It's point blank, and it's like, how are you going to survive a point blank gunshot to the head?
Scully is transported via a cargo plane. She's on this like kind of what looks like a glass coffin, and Cancer Man once again doing what Cancer Man does, lighting up a cigarette, just standing there being a bad guy.
Cowardly Lion, Scarecrow, Dodo.
Then we get a scene in the hospital where the lone gunmen help Mulder get out of the hospital. So this is literally their one and only scene. We had to have them in there because it's the lone gunmen, and it's just like basically it's Mulder got shot in the head so that we could have a scene with the lone gunmen. That is all. But as a fan of the show, we needed it. It adds nothing. It doesn't. If Mulder didn't get shot in the head, he'd just go on to his next bit. He'd go to the hospital, find out Scully wasn't there, and realize he's got so it'd be a lot quicker. But no, we want to see the lone gunmen. It's the movie. We've got to have them in there. So they randomly show up. And if you're a newbie, you sat there going, who the hell are these guys? It's like, who are these three randomers? It's just, they show up, Mulder texts one of their clothes, and then that's it. They don't show up again. But again, it's pure fan service. Kurt Weill is cornered by well-manicured man at the bar. It's the last we see of him. Mulder arrives at the bar just moments later to find well-manicured man and his lackey loading the trunk. Well-manicured man offers Mulder the vaccine and Scully's location in return for a something I can't read. my handwriting's crap. So what's it in return for? A chat. That's what it is. In return for a chat. Yeah. So, oh man. So yeah. So he says, look, I'll give you the vaccine and Scully's location, but I need a chat first. And Mulder's like, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, but I don't really have much of a choice. So he gets in it. He gets in the car with him, and it's at this point that. Now, I don't know if you watched the theatrical version for this or whether you watched the slightly extended cut.
I don't know. I think mine was 2 hours, 12 minutes.
Right. That's the extended one. 2 hours, 12.
Right. I'm sure.
Right. Okay. So it's definitely the extended cut. The theatrical one is a bit shorter. But so this sequence in the car with well-manicured man where they're talking is a lot longer in the extended cut, and there's some stuff in there that just gives you a bit more character stuff, a bit more like yeah. As a fan of the show, there's a few things in there where you're like, oh, okay, that weren't in the theatrical cut, which was quite mind-boggling, to be honest. So they go for a drive. Well-manicured man tells Mulder that the virus is alien in origin and was the original inhabitant of Earth. It has laid dormant underground until the alien race returns to colonize. Mulder's dad chose Samantha to be taken as part of the program in order to keep her alive, and they struck a deal with the aliens only so they could get access to the virus and develop a cure. Mulder deduces that Kurzweil is dead and wishes to get out of the car. Well-manicured man tells him to get to Scully, puts a gun to his head to tell him to get moving now. And then when he gets back into the car, and that's it for well-manicured man.
Is it? Is
yeah,
that
pretty much?
yeah.
Yeah. So John Neville, probably. Other than Cancer Man, obviously, my favourite member of the syndicate.
Yeah. He always felt like a counterpoint to Cigarette Smoking Man. You know?
Yeah.
So that's a shame. I kind of thought it was like a bait and switch, like he might not have been there.
Well, it was set up that way, wasn't it? It was set up where we're going to kill him because it's a movie, so we need to kill off one of the main characters so that it's like a big moment for fans. But it was done in such a way that it's like, I don't think he's dead. But yeah, he is.
Like, I've seen a movie before. I know what's happening.
That car is parked over a sewer grate, I'm telling you. And there's a breakaway floor in there.
No,
he's gone. So yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, so the thing in that talk that wasn't in the theatrical cut is that thing about Mulder's dad being the one who chose Samantha to be taken in order to protect her, because by making her part of the program, she would stay alive.
I did love the bit just at when Kurzweil's talking to the well-manicured man, and then it cuts away to Mulder coming out, and these two guys are just like looming over the boot of the car and closing it. Just like,
yeah, it's like we all know who's in there.
Yeah.
Mulder makes his way across the Arctic in a snowplow. He gets to the coordinates where he kind of whips out his binoculars. He spies Cancer Man, and then he starts running. He realizes, I'm going to have to leave my snowplow here because I can't just go driving up to that place in my snowplow. It's like, hello, boys. he starts running across the ice towards this location, and then he suddenly falls into a network of tunnels. So you realize that this whole flat piece of ice has got something underneath it. They're doing something under there, and it don't look kosher.
I don't know what I would do, but I do know that I would never go further down. Like, it's just me. Like, I'd be trying to get up, but Mulder just like, well, that's a hole. Color me curious. I'm going down that.
Yeah. So the big question, obviously, is this a spaceship? Because it sure as hell feels like a spaceship. There's bodies in tubes. There's humans.
I felt like it was like he'd walked into the Matrix at parts, or it was in the first Alien kind of movie, that kind of greasy workman-like spaceship.
Yeah,
felt like that kind of environment.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this that when you look at it, you go, it's a bit Matrixy, isn't it? And then you realize, actually, this is a year before the Matrix. So who stole from who? And we know that the Matrix stole from like so many sources, but made it its own. So that's doesn't take anything away from the Matrix, but there's definitely a look and feel to this.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're going like it's a bit like the Matrix, but it's also kind of taking stuff from Alien and making it so definitely they always cycle.
Yeah. So Cancerman finds Mulder's snowplow and then just kind of looks at it going, crap. He doesn't say anything, Cancerman, in this film, and yet he just has that like presence. But so
it's funny how you can interpret what's happening by the way he smokes.
Yeah,
like, it's almost just like I've seen that inhale before.
Yeah. There's a very particular way to inhale a cigarette that tells you everything you need to know about the way he's thinking. So Mulder gets deep inside the ship and he goes for a slide. It's like whee, straight down. Basically, just a really quick way of getting him down to where he needs to be. He finds the casket that Scully must have been in that's open. He knows Scully must have been in it because her cross necklace is still there in the casket, which is nice and convenient.
I tell you what's good as well. I feel as if a lot of the things in the spaceship are matte paintings. You know?
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
But that's
it's a lost art form, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was almost like going at that point as well. Like it wasn't used much. So I really like when I see that. Like I think it's nice.
Yeah. It is a lost art form. I think. I wish they'd bring back matte paintings. I prefer matte paintings over like a CGI background.
Yep, 100%.
Mulder finds Scully's casket. He starts kind of trying to break it. Well, first he vaccines it. So he sticks the vaccine in to the tube. He finds this like tube thing and he sticks the vaccine in it and it goes like goes down. Hey?
He puts it on
yeah. So he smashes the thing first, doesn't he? He smashes a hole in it and then he pulls the thing out of her. He doesn't pull that out until he puts the vaccine in.
Yeah, it goes all.
He puts the vaccine in, and then it goes all, and then he kind of pulls it out, and she starts coughing, and then
I love the idea of this. You get the matte painting, and you get the idea of this gigantic structure, and he's almost just like jogging along, and he's like, "Oh, that's Gilly." It's like he just happens to stumble across her. But
it's not that he just happens to just stumble across it. He knows that she's in the vicinity because he's found the box she came in because it's got her clothes and her cross in it. So he knows that if she's been taken out of that and put into one of these things, then it must be one of these that are nearby. So, but it is all a bit like, you do get there a bit quickly. Given how big the ship is, it's like, it's almost very convenient that you fell down that long slidey thing to where you did. It turns into a long protracted sequence now where it's the finale. The vaccine has got into the ship, so all the systems are failing. All the people on the bridge are kind of like, get out of here. I think, like gas is erupting. Aliens are starting to burst forth from the canisters. Scully's kind of flaking out and looking like she's lost breath, and Mulder's doing the whole breathe kind of thing, and she breathes, starts coughing, and he's got to carry her on the shoulder, and an alien breaks out, and it's all very tense and kind of get out of there. It's a lot of screen time where there's not so much anything happening that is of vital importance to the overall mythology, but it builds up the sense of just how big the conspiracy is, because of how big the ship is, how many aliens there are in it, how many bodies of human beings there are in it.
Mm-hmm. But it's putting on a proper climax for the movie as well. It's building it up. It just can't just go out with a whimper. It needs to do something huge in that. Like, I mean, it really does feel as if it's went somewhere different. You know, it's got these aliens and the canisters breaking out. It's got that monster feeling to it. It's just everything about it's just bigger and better than you would get in the TV show.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very tense. I love the alien design. I love that
it doesn't really linger on it either. You know, it does that thing where it's limiting your view.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just I love that they don't show it you like full on. It's always like the head or the eye or part of the shoulder and the side profile, but it's very quick, and it's like, but you get the sense of the vicious nature of this thing, and that you do not want to be hanging around when it's popping out. But they manage to get out anyway, and they get to the top of the ice. And it's at that moment that the ship just starts coming up. It just starts rising. And like all the snow kind of just drops. Mulder and Scully disappear. And then suddenly it just comes out, and they're like sliding down the side of it, and they fall off the ship. Scully faints, as she's prone to do.
Oh, God. But, Scully, you seen this?
In all fairness, she's been through a lot. she's been in the.
I'd have her up and be like, look at it.
Come on, bitch. So Mulder witnesses it. So all the stuff he's been through in season 5, where he was doubting whether or not aliens were real, that's totally gone out the window now. He's like, nope, aliens are definitely real. There ain't no way you're telling me this is just some government conspiracy now. So, but yeah, so we're going to get old-fashioned Mulder back after this, that's for sure. Oh, and that's how that whole sequence basically ends with a pan out, a pull out, and you just see this massive gaping crater. It's like volcanic-sized crater in the ground where the ship was.
What is it you find incredible?
Well, where would you like me to start?
So Mulder and Scully are at this hearing. The hearing basically dismisses everything they say, and they say there's no evidence. And they're like, do you want to go back to the Antarctica and just see that big ass crater that the ship left in the ground? It's like, so like, there's no evidence. Scully gives them the B that she found, tells them that they have no unit in the FBI that is qualified to look at the evidence in hand. Obviously, they had the bone fragment, they've got the B, big ass crater back in the Antarctic. So
it's basically just we need the X-Files back.
Yeah. It's their way of saying, look, you did have a team that could have investigated this evidence, but now you don't.
There's an interesting work of fiction on page 24. Mysteriously, our names have been omitted.
Scully meets Mulder on the park bench. He tells her to
go be a doctor. Go be a doctor while you still can.
And she's like,
if I quit now, they win.
She takes his hand and they go walking off into the sunset. And then we get one final stinger, which is in Tunisia. We see so we see Strughold, and it's another one of these sites where it's like bees,
bee factory,
cornfield with a bee factory in the background, and Cancerman lands, and he basically gives Strughold a telegram that he's received, and then buggers off. And Strughold kind of reads it, looks a bit miffed, to be honest, drops it on the floor and just wanders off into the cornfield. And then we see a close-up of the telegram, and it just says, X-Files reopened, stop, please advise, stop. And that's it. We go out of the film with the X-Files once again being open. Final thoughts. Go.
I mean, it's a bit hard because I feel like this is very different from a TV episode. So and rightfully so, because it's a big budgeted movie, 66 million of a budget, in fact. So, it's hard to really relate in amongst with that, but I really do enjoy it. I feel I had a lot of focus on it, and everything I think really generally works for the most part. I think the ending sequence is probably the one that kind of feels most ill-fitting. That little, like you say, stinger at the end, especially as he doesn't come back. If he came back,
yeah,
and that could have been the intention. They could still have recast if they had to, I suppose.
I just, it's there literally to tell us that the X-Files have been reopened.
But I feel you kind of get that with Scully's sentiments at the hearing. When they kind of look at each other in the B, I'm like, oh yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
that. I mean, like you can open the first episode of the next season. You open with X-Files been reopened, and we know why, because we've just seen the movie. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind the stinger at the end.
It's like I said, I don't feel comfortable giving it a star rating because it's something different than the TV show.
I've got 2 ratings for this. Okay,
right.
Which is this. So I've got my I'm just a movie nerd, I love movies kind of rating, and I've got my I'm an X-Files fanatic. I've got my X-Files rating. Okay,
I could do that.
Yeah. So for me, this is a 4-star movie. Okay.
Yes.
If I was coming to this and I was just rated, if I wasn't an X-Files guy, I just came to it and was like, this is my introduction. How does this sit just purely as a movie on its own? Well, I think it tells a really good conspiracy story. I think we really do get a glimpse of who Mulder and Scully are. I feel like even if you didn't know in the series, they do a really good job of showing us who they are. We get a whole cast of characters that are quite intriguing. I'm sucked into this world. There's some really great action set pieces. The chopper sequence in the cornfield is, like I said, kind of goes nowhere. It's a whole lot of nothing, really, when it comes down to it. Beyond that, it's a really good throwback to your 70s political conspiracy thriller, but with aliens thrown in. And that's what it feels like, All the President's Men, that kind of film, but with aliens and on a big grand scale. And I love that. So for me, it's a 4-star movie. Now, as an X-Files fan, despite the criticism with the cornfield and whatnot, I'm seeing my favorite show on the big screen with a big budget, with a pretty solid story. I'm in my element. This is 5 stars. So as an X-Files fan, this is 5 stars for me. If you want to split the difference, I give this a 4.5 out of 5.
I'd be with you. I'm with you on the 4 for a movie, 5 for the X-Files phenomenon. I think you should be differentiating it like that. In amongst all the episodes, it stands kind of right up there, and it gives that cinematic element. And as a movie, it's a really solid movie.
There's such a huge quotient of people that have seen all the Star Trek movies, but never watched the show. They don't give a toss about the show, but they've watched all the movies, and it's like, I love Wrath of Khan. I love Undiscovered Country. I love First Contact, and that's because they're movie fans. And you know what? Those 3 movies are genuinely good movies. And yet they get to other ones like Star Trek Insurrection, where they're like, just feels like a 2-part episode with a slightly bigger budget. Now, I really like Star Trek Insurrection, but then I've watched all of Star Trek The Next Generation. So I totally get it. I can see why movie fans come to that and think, it's nothing special. But as a Star Trek fan, I really like Star Trek Insurrection. So there's that. I think come to this as a movie fan, it's a 4-star film. Come to it as an X-Files fan, it's a 5-star film.
I think there should always also be a special mention to the fact that this is not after the season is finished. This is not after the series is finished. This is mid season, because this, like, I've got a little note here, like, the finale of season 5 aired on the 17th of May. The movie was released on the 19th of June, and then season 6 started on the 8th of November. Like, that's that's crazy. Like, it's pretty much unheard of.
It's a super quick turnaround, and you're starting. you're starting off from where, like mid-season, and then you've got to end it in such a way that it satisfies those movie fans, makes them feel like they've had a complete story, but that also brings you show fans of the show back for season 6. And I just think I'm not sure you could have done a better job, really.
No, and I'll say this as well: 66 million budget, it made 190 worldwide. So that's a TV show making that kind of money. That's look. Why do you think we didn't get more movies?
Yeah, I mean that's not a massive box office, to be honest, because it's $66 million budget. Then you've got marketing on top of that. So I don't know if that's just production budget or whether that's production.
It's just
and
production
marketing. Yeah,
I think that's just production budget.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have made a huge profit. The biggest angle for Fox to make the movie was to drum up more interest, so that when season 6 starts, they get a whole new swathe of viewers, and they did, if I remember correctly. So
it's not losing money, It's not.
No, it's not losing money. Personally, and I've said this before, I think the way to go would have been, let's just stick with movies now. And I think you could have built on that audience. If you'd have had a movie come out sooner, rather than letting the show die and then bring a movie out years later when no one was interested anymore, which is what they did, then I think they could have built on that momentum. But yeah.
So I've never seen the second movie.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yes, we will. Yeah. So is that us finished? Okay. Wrapped up? Well done.
That's it. Yeah.
So we'll be back with season 6 soon, which I'm looking forward to getting into. After the movie, I'm rejuvenated and excited, especially after season 5, which was tremendous. So that's going to be good. So join us next time, where we will be starting at season 6. We'll probably have a little bit of a break again just to rejuvenate ourselves, and then we'll come back, as always, talking more X-Files. Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for joining us on the YouTube and whatever podcast service you join us on. And don't forget to review and like. That would be fantastic as well. And we'll see you next time on the X-Files Revisited.